just like Babe Ruth, I'm going to call my shot. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Recovery Classroom. My name is Drew. I am a recovering alcoholic. I'm still sober, and I'm still enjoying each and every single day. Thank God for my sobriety. I would be remiss if I did not tell you about our Friday night crosstalk meeting. If you and your friends are local to the Huntington, West Virginia area, and you're looking for a different type of meeting, an actual recovery meeting where you could sit and actually have a conversation rather than the traditional meeting where this person talks and that person talks, and the same 5 people talk, and they say the same thing that they said last week and the last 6 weeks. If you're looking for a different type of meeting, come on down to 5747 East Pea Ridge Road in Huntington, Pea Ridge United Methodist Church, for what we like to call the quickest hour in recovery, tonight at 7 o'clock. It's just literally just a group of us just sitting around talking about all the recovery-related topics that are important and relevant to us. And so we encourage you to come on down tonight, make some new friends tonight and every Friday night at 7 o'clock. We'll see you there. Over the last couple monologues, I've been talking to you and sharing with you from the perspective of a newcomer and some of the problems that a newcomer can get tripped up in. In other words, some of the issues that a newcomer can trip themselves up in. Like yesterday's monologue, I shared about the carbon copy, and you see these people that they want you to start thinking like they do, and you start thinking like they do, and that can kind of be dangerous. I talked about the day before the process over progress and how I can get myself tripped up because I start focusing on the process rather than my progress, and that can just cause me to get myself in a whole world of hurt. There is another way, though, that you as a newcomer can get tripped up in these very issues, however, through no fault of your own. At least, well, no direct fault of your own. And see, that comes down to the people you decide to associate with whenever you do come into recovery. You hear it all the time. You got to surround yourself with like-minded people. I get that, and I agree with that in context, to a certain extent anyway. I agree with that. But you have to be very careful. On page 164 of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, the very last page, Bill Wilson writes, God will show us how to create the fellowship we crave. There's a fellowship I need, and because I need that fellowship, that's the fellowship I create, and I've been incredibly fortunate because I've been able to create that fellowship. But you as a newcomer, you need to start building that fellowship, but you have to be careful because you don't want to surround yourself with people who place a priority on process over progress, because what do you think's going to happen if you're hanging out with like-minded people who are placing a priority on process over progress? What do you think's going to happen to you? You're going to start placing priority on process over progress. If you're hanging out with people that are wanting to be carbon copies of other people in the room, well, hell, then won't you start wanting to be a carbon copy of other people in the room too? Saying the same thing over and over again every single week, every single time you open your mouth? That's not what I want. That's not what brought me in recovery. The people I associate with, they did not bring me into recovery. They did not get my candy ass here in this recovery process, in this recovery program. I'm responsible. I'm the one who made the decisions that brought me into recovery. Why would I want to place that responsibility on them? I shared it yesterday in yesterday's monologue. If the carbon copy, if I'm working with somebody and they're wanting me to think like them, start thinking like they are thinking, well, they're alcoholic too, right? Wait a minute. I think alcoholically anyway. Why would I want to think like another alcoholic? Hell, it might make me worse. I want to think like a better version of an alcoholic. I want to start thinking like a healed alcoholic rather than a regular alcoholic. And by the grace of God, I am recovered. I'm just not cured. I'm always going to be an alcoholic. That will never go away. But at least today I can think like a healed alcoholic. Yesterday's monologue, I mentioned where Bill Wilson writes around step 11, God gave us brains to use. He wants us to think like a healed alcoholic. It becomes vitally important to we're paying attention to those people that we're hanging out with. Also, just as important is the person who's your sponsor. That person who's your sponsor, you can quickly identify where their priorities are at, whether they have your best interests at heart. When they're telling you, hey, you have to do this and you have to do that, they don't get to call the shots. They don't. Again, I brought myself in here. They're not going to push me out. I get to call the shots, not anybody else, not my friends, not the people I fellowship with, and not my sponsor. I'm responsible for bringing myself in, and now I found a new way through my higher power to help usher in that new line of thinking. I get to call the shots. You get to call your own shots. Don't let anybody tell you how you have to recover, because as Bill Wilson also writes, we don't have a monopoly on God. We don't have a monopoly on recovery. Encourage you, find that group of friends, but pay attention to who you're hanging out with and make sure that their priorities are aligned at least with your priorities. With that being said, I'm way over time. Thank you guys for letting me come in and share 5 to 10 minutes of your day with you. You guys absolutely keep me sober, and I could not be any more appreciative. If you like the content of these video messages here on the Recovery Classroom, please feel free to like and share with your friends and on all of your other social media channels. We'll be talking again soon. Remember, guys, you can't get drunk if you don't take that first drink.